when there's a news of Brexit, so we just touched on that with the NHS. Obviously, there's a nurse shortage already, and a lot of them are leaving because there's a video I have to do soon anyway. There's a lot of racial abuse in the NHS, and just the madness of a guy or a person who's trying to help you out, and you're like, yeah, screw you, pack in. You're just like,
yeah,
this man's gonna patch you up, or this person's gonna patch you up, and they're gonna let you go back outside.
Just to clarify, that was Madge who said the P word, not me. I wouldn't say that.
But do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but that's my point. If you say to a nurse you don't speak English, I don't like the way you speak English. It's like, yeah, I don't like the fact that you're drunk at 3 a.m. and I have to pump your stomach. Do you know what I mean?
I think it was BBC News or Sky News, one of the two. They tweeted out about potential rule changes that would allow people who abuse NHS staff on the basis of their nationality, that they could refuse them treatment. And people in the comments were like, "Oh, that's an outrage." I don't care what people say. They should, the NHS should treat people. I'm like, your racism is really showing. Like, if you're going into an NHS ward and you've got a broken arm, broken leg, or like you said, you're drunk, your stomach pumping, or you just something's happened, you're in A&E, and say a Romanian nurse comes up to you and says, how can I help, sir? What do you need? You sees your broken arm, wants to help you, and you go, oh, get off me, you're Romanian, I don't know the way you speak English, you don't belong from my country. At that point, that nurse should have the backing of her colleagues to go, you are not going to be treated here, sir. You can go to another hospital and try and find someone that will care for you, because we will not have that. You don't have the luxury of refusing treatment. You can if you want to go to private healthcare, you do that, but you will not come and abuse the people who are doing their absolute utmost in dire conditions to help you.
Because there's only two real places where you can get away with abusing staff. It feels like the NHS and sports stadiums.
Yeah.
And I don't care how much people get paid. You don't, what I mean? Abusing them is just silly.
I think going for a football perspective, we've sat in the stands and gone, oh, he's crap.
He's rubbish.
Yeah, get him off. He's a rubbish footballer. And further swear words will include, but we won't say them here.
Insults.
we all go on Twitter after a game and say, oh, I was a victim. I did this all the time.
For yourself, I'm like, Pereira, you're the GOAT, mate. I've never seen a man do this decision. No, to be fair, I do occasionally go on the odd Twitter thing like, this guy's rubbish.
But I think that's fair. I have the right as a paying fan to say this person's rubbish, but there's a line with Granit Xhaka. Don't get me wrong, he's played fantastically recently, and I'll chat more about him later, I'm sure, because big up Granit. But a few months ago, he was
rubbish,
woeful, and I was like, get this man out of my club. He is awful. And the fans were on, sending him death threats, wishing him to have cancer,
people do that. People wish death on someone else. I'm just like, do you realise how impactful death is on someone?
And stuff like, oh, I hope your wife gets cancer. He's just had a baby as well. Oh, I hope your baby dies. There's the man is a human being. Don't get me wrong. I think every footballer's overpaid. I think. But
at the same time, if you use a Marxist critique of it, they're underpaid because the wealth they generate for the club is far more than they actually get paid. That's the problem, isn't it?
And I think I'll come on to a point in a second about when people complain about X profession doesn't get paid as much as a footballer, but it's supply and demand.
But it's like that. It's like I said, he generates the wealth for that thing, and I agree. I think nurses and doctors and anyone who works in the public sector should get paid more.
Yeah, they're massively underpaid, but that's not the fault. That's not a bloke kicking a football out for 90 minutes' fault. That's your government's fault.
And the thing is, his taxes will pay for a lot of these people who work in the NHS. You can't imagine how much in taxes even someone like One Matter pays. I think One Matter's on 150,000. A lot of his money is going to be taxed. I think about 45% of every bill he gets is going to be taxed, and then you got national insurance on top of that.
Yeah.
So he's going to be paying for. Bro, you could argue he's paying for a lot of the stuff within Manchester Hospital.
You say a footballer earns 100k a week. Let's say they make 400k a month. Even if you're taxing 45% of that, that's a massive amount of money that's going back into our services. Yeah. I'm not saying we should pay footballers more. I think the money in football is ludicrous, as probably everyone else does. But like you said, they have that ability to contribute back to society, and it's a supply and demand.
And they do it as well, because a lot of these guys, they come from nothing, very humble origins. A lot of these guys.
You look at people like Richarlison is a big one, isn't he?
Ronaldo.
Yeah, grew up in the streets of the favela, and now one of the best.
Not Ronaldo, obviously Richarlison. I think Ronaldo. Yeah. I like Ronaldo in those Portuguese favelas.
No, Richarlison, but even
yeah.
I say fat Ronaldo. It's just the way to differentiate.
Brazilian Ronaldo.
Sorry.
Put some respect on R9's name.
Sorry, R9. If you're listening, Il Fenomeno. Nothing personal. I think you're a good player.
I kept trying to do a skill. What's it called? El Tornado.
Yeah.
On FIFA, I don't know how to do it. It's the closest I'll get to an actual skill move. But
I've got the original point, mate.
You're just talking about like taxes, how much
We're
they
off
put
on a
back.
tangent.
That's the problem. Yeah, we're going off. Yeah.
Well, like we said, just with footballers as well. Like, you know, you said about abusing staff, and you said it's like the NHS is so uncalled for because that person's trying to help. You know, if you want to call a footballer, if you want to call them bad at football, you have every single right.
Like, you get some like medical professionals who aren't that good, and I can say honestly, I go for doctors literally about once a year.
Yeah.
And I went and had a chest infection. I know I had a chest infection because it's the one thing that always gets me every few years when it's like, yeah, you've been ill for a week. You got all the symptoms. It's an infection, right? And I go in there, you know, it takes ages. It's overrun because they don't have enough doctors there. Okay?
Yeah, and we're a very
And
concentrated population.
I'm like, all right, bro, I need some antibiotics or something. I've got this in my head, and I know they don't give them out willy-nilly, yeah, but I need something to just help me out. My man charges me £8 he gives me prescriptions, £8 for a throat spray. It's like really hard to ingest because you got to like, it goes quite far
Yeah,
back.
I had that recently. Yeah.
And then B, it didn't do anything. Like, you know, I'm just going to heal the old-fashioned way, which is if I die, I die. And like, if I said about him, he's not a good doctor, I don't want to ever see him again. That's massively different from me saying, yeah, this guy, bloody Indian, you know,
Yeah.
get him out of the country. You don't know what he's doing. Like, I can argue that I agree, but you know, he's the one who's been to medical school, and they don't give out antibiotics as much anymore,
Yeah.
which is a pain.
I think.
But there's a massive difference between that and saying, bloody Romanian, get off me. I want someone who's English.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like proper white. You know what, like a wasp. You know,
Yeah.
white Anglo-Saxon, all that stuff.
But we have, you know, if your doctor, if you think, you know, oh, doctor's given me nothing, he's just said I'm fine, blah blah blah. Yeah, you've got the right to say I don't think I'm fine. You know, I don't think this
Second
is.
opinion.
Yeah, you can do that. That's not a problem. It's when you go, this doctor's crap because he's from India, he's from Pakistan, whatever. That's where the line is crossed. And
Or if you say, you know, this doctor's crap is from like Romania, or like
Yeah.
this nurse rubbish, even though they have like a European standard for nursing,
yeah,
which is something I found out, which is really interesting.
and the European standards for everything are
High.
immaculately high. Like,
Very high.
well, you think like nursing, food, care, like even like.
It's the gold standard, really, and it's
Yeah.
the highest. I think the highest standards probably in the world.
Well, you've been to Germany as well because I've
Yeah.
been. I'm also going to
Big up
Munich.
Berlin.
Berlin's a great
Yeah,
place.
you go to the pub where the beer hall putsch happened.
I am, yeah.
Oh,
well, I'm not
man.
going just for that. Just to clarify, I'm going for the.
Yeehaw! Papa, here comes. This is the putsch.
I'm going for the Euro 2020 quarterfinal in Munich. Got tickets, so hopefully it doesn't get called off for the coronavirus. But yeah, but
the Prem gets called off. But, you know,
oh yeah, so am I. We don't want Liverpool to win the league. But like the public services there, the buses, the trains, they're so good. Like they're just ready there. Boom.
Yeah, when I went like on the underground, it wasn't like the best public service, but in fairness, public transport, like you just want it to A to B as fast as you can. You don't want like a freaking limousine service.
Yeah. I think for people who use the tube a lot, I don't, but I've got a few mates who work in London. The only thing they want is just
We got no tube from it.
no, we don't. We're getting the bus. Like the only thing we want is air conditioned tubes. Because when you get on a tube in the middle of summer, it's horrible. Because it's such a dense
Underground as well.
population. Yeah, like I had a few people who've been to New York and said all their like subways are like air conditioned, ventilated. That's all they need, and the tube will be fine. Like you're not, like you said, I'm not getting on there to get a luxury seat and put my feet up. I want to go a few stops to get to Wembley to watch football, or I want to get to
Good times.
wherever. Yeah,
But yeah, so like if we do winners and losers of Brexit, like, we'll keep this as concise as possible.
yeah.
So we'll go with winners. Who do you think wins from this?
The people who win with Brexit are the same people who win in society. Is the elite. It's the richest of the rich.
They're singing that T-Pain, all I do is win no matter what.
Or throwing dollar bills.
Wolf of Wall Street. Bam.
But ultimately they're the winners. They're the ones who got what they wanted. You know, they pumped a lot of money, and a lot of politicians had a lot of money invested in the tanking of the economy, which it did. You know,
Farage was on. You can see him standing with the picture of the pound dropping, being very pleased.
yeah. Jacob Rees-Mogg, another one who emphasis on clown again.
Yeah, man. I need some facepaint now. At this point, like, he's got everything else ready.
He's. I hate him. I'll be concise. Jacob Rees-Mogg, if you're listening, which you're not, but if you
Feel
do,
free to jump on the podcast, mate. You know, show us your side of the story.
yeah, if you want to come on, if you
come
want to, if you want to hate me, fair enough. I hate you. Just I'll come out and say it.
1v1 Ellis in the octagon, you know.
Get Bruce Buffer. Kill the team.
Get the Rock as well, you know.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Exactly.
But
Okay, then.
the winners from that, like, you know, were the people who invested a lot of money and made a lot of money as a result. And
Into the stock market.
yeah, exactly. And a lot of the losers are going to be people like us. You know, I'm quite a European adventurer.
Northampton Globetrotter.
I am a little bit, yeah. I've got a few holidays this year, but I travel quite a lot of Europe just for the fun of it, because it's so easy and accessible to go to, and you get such a range of cultures in such a
Yeah, I enjoyed going to Amsterdam. It's fun. You know, the museum they have. God.
The Rijksmuseum with all the paintings, and
yeah,
there's like an underground bit which like all like the war weapons and stuff.
Yeah, I checked out.
Yeah.
They got like three floors that I went to. I saw the what's it called, man? Like the medieval stuff at the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, they have like a Nordic drinking horn. I'm like, imagine drinking out of that thing. Wow. They had the second floor. You got like all the pirates and stuff. And then they got an upstairs bit which has a life-size Nazi plate.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and there's a lot of paintings as well. A lot of beautiful art.
Yeah, that museum's
great.
And how much is it to get in?
Like €20, I think it was. €25.
Bargain.
It's when you €25 to go to a museum, but I think
it's probably one of the best museums.
Oh, definitely. I think I went there for about 5 hours. I think I was there for.
You can spend all day in there.
Oh, easily. Great.
You can spend all day in there.
And we have all this accessibility. You know, Berlin's what was that, hour 40 flight, something like that, maybe a little longer.
Yeah, it's not a long flight.
It's a quick flight.
It's no Bangladesh. I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah, I flew not that the Ukraine is in the European Union, but I flew to Kiev in 3 and a bit hours. Like, there's such a wide range of culture, so close, and a lot of young people feel a bit betrayed that their rights to do that have been voted against.
Because the thing is, right, I think we'll have to get a tourist visa, and you'll probably have to get health insurance. But for us, health insurance will be quite cheap anyway.
Yeah.
For older people, good luck. Genuinely good luck getting health insurance.
Oh yeah.
It is savage out there.
It is horrible. You have one little problem, you're absolutely
like
done
I said,
for.
you know, when I did that, the Brexit exceptionism video, there's a guy. I think he was saying he had to spend like hundreds of euros each week just to get the meds he's on now.
Yeah.
And so it's just like that guy's gonna die.
Yeah.
He's definitely gonna die, and he says it's the Spanish government's fault for not helping him out. It's not the Spanish government's responsibility.
No.
It really isn't. Like, we can say this from a human perspective, that, you know, every nation should help out everyone else, but at the same time, it's not that nation state's responsibility. We're the ones who decide to leave. We're the ones who decide to pull out of EU institutions. The EU health card, for example, that's on us. And if the government won't help these people out, then A, why did you vote Brexit for if you're one of these people specifically? And B, you need to get on the government's case. You have to come back and do something. Like, you have to tell them.
And I think a lot of people have looked at, you know, the most Googled question after the European Union is, what is the European Union? God. People, and not that I'm trying to target anyone, but it's the people who pick up the Sun, who pick up the Daily Mail, who, you know, they see that they buy it for, I don't know how much the Sun is, 50p, or the Daily Mail is like £1.10 or something.
Yeah, it's very cheap.
People pick it up and they see the front cover, you know, the EU is a awful organisation, you know,
Bendy bananas.
Jeremy Corbyn's a massive communist, and people read that one little snippet and go, yeah, I agree with that, because this newspaper's right.
My favourite thing about everything they do about Corbyn is like, he's a Marxist, he's a communist, he's a socialist. I'm like, these are, you know, different things.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man, like, pick one.
I used to work in a little petrol station in Winchester when I was at university, and this bloke came in to buy the Sun, and the front cover had Corbyn on it, and they called him a Marxist, and he went, yeah, that Corbyn is a Marxist. And I went, do you know what a Marxist is? And he went, communist. Massively different things. Like, and I just said, if you can explain Marxism to me, then fair enough. And he just didn't know, because he's read it. It's a buzzword. That communism, socialism, Marxism, they're buzzwords that people go bad.
Because the thing is, right, you all, like, there are different strands even of communism. Like, you have Maoism, which is different to Stalinism, which is different to Leninism.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, each person came up with their own variation, purely because once you rule a country or you're in charge of it, you can't stick to ideology. It doesn't work. That's something we learned with big up Pochettino Compton with the Netman new economic policy, where he basically had to allow free marketeers to revive the farming industry.
Combin is an old history teacher we had, an absolute legend as well.
His name was Paul Combin, but we're like, he's too cool to have the name Paul.
Yeah.
So we called him Pochettino after Mauricio Pochettino, the great one.
Yeah, I do like Mauricio, bless him. But yeah,
I still respect him.
And like you said, like, yeah, there's different variants of every ideology. There's no flat rate. But I think our generation and the older generations, when we hear socialism, we think of different things.
Oh yeah.
Like, but our generation thinks of healthcare,
Norway,
of Norway, of great healthcare, of great education that values education, not just getting people ready for jobs.
Welfare system.
A great welfare system that invests in its people.
Redistribution.
Yeah, public transport that's got big investments that allows people to.
Norway got good public transport.
Yeah, Norway got good everything.
Have they?
What a country.
Are they just like you know, you get them stats on a game where it's like they just max out, like, not the top, but they're like, 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10.
Norway is, I haven't been, but I had a few mates who have been really.
I know someone that went to Finland. I could ask her actually.
Lovely countries. But that's what when we hear socialism, we think of those things that are beneficial to everyone in society. The older generation think of the USSR. They think of people dying.
I saw a tweet about that. It's so funny.
But it's a great comparison.
And like the thing with me is like we try and follow like the American kind of like system in some ways. I'm like, Norway are closer to us than America is,
Yeah.
and why are we trying to follow them when we have a better model that's over there? Do you see what I'm saying? And like these are the people like working class people and lower middle class people. They're the ones who will lose out because if we crash out, depending on who's in charge of the Bank of England, it could be very hazy. Like I think Mark Carney's been preparing for this for a long time, but he's leaving soon, and so you got interest rates will go up, and when interest rates go up, your mortgage price will go up, and if you can't afford your mortgage rates, your house is gone.
Yeah.
So that's one loser there. They're apparently going to try and edit the working times directive, so you can do more than 40 hours a week. So for now, you have the option, unless you're like self-employed or whatever, you can say I'm not going to do more than 40 hours a week. And so with less people within the system, they're going to need more people to cover these hours. Yeah. So your employers will be like, yeah, sorry mate, you're going to be doing another 8 hour on Sunday, and you're going to be like, bruh.
Yeah.
And interest rates go up. It's going to be a bit harder to travel. Anything we import, it's going to take longer to come through. So fresh fruit and stuff. So anything, I think in the winter, we do have a lot of vegetables and stuff like turnips and all the funny looking vegetables.
All the rubbish ones.
They put in a soup.
Yeah, and soup is not a meal. I'm gonna come out there and say it.
I enjoy soup, but the thing is, like, I enjoy the Bengali soups more than I enjoy the English soups. No offense, but the Bengali.
I like how you think you've offended me because I'm English. It's like, oh, he's saying stuff about my soups. I hate soup. I'll eat it, but
I don't mind it as much. But the thing is, like,
waste of calories.
Like, lentils. Like lentils are really nice, and you can have it plain. You can have it with rice, or you just with chapati or roti, or whichever part in Asia you're from.
Yeah.
With like English soup, I have them. I'm like, why? Like when I had, I can't remember. I tweeted it out a few years ago. It was like leek and potato soup. I'm like, this is a Brexit soup.
That is
leek
and potato is a Brexit soup.
And that's the stuff we're gonna be eating because imports are gonna be more expensive.
Like if you had to define Brexit as a soup, it's that. It's like if you had to define Brexit as a footballer, Rory Delap.
You go Rory Delap
or Danny Murphy
and John Terry, without the class.
Yeah.
No, he has no class anyways.
No, he doesn't. Great player though. I won't say.
We need a player who like thinks he's better than he is and is a bit racist as well. That's the problem. There's the criteria there.
Graham Souness.
Wasn't he a good player?
He was, but it's just how, like, I imagine he's at home. He drops his plate on the floor. Bloody Paul Pogba.
We need to get onto this later.
He's too busy getting haircuts and dabbing.
He's like, I can see him dancing in front of me now because I dropped my plate. He's like, I remember I saw one like story when I was younger. I think in sixth form, right? That's a weird sentence to say. Where he goes, Churchill sees little red men walking around London because he's that scared of the USSR.
Yeah.
He's like, I bet you Souness sees like little Paul Pogbas dancing around.
Just dabbing and he's like, oh god.
He's like, he sees Lingard as well. He's like, no, get away. He wakes up at night screaming.
Just nightmares of Paul Pogba doing a few dabs in front of him. Oh my god.
Do you know what I mean? Because he had like a perm or something. He had some dodgy haircuts when he was
younger. North hair. Yeah, Graham Souness was a great player, and some of his punditry is actually like quite good. It's just, I guess we can come on to later, like the criticism.
I prefer Roy Keane. I like Roy Keane personally. Plus, because he's hilarious. He's like, it's 2 yards, Gaddy. It's 2 yards. And this
will be a hot take. Roy Keane was a bang average footballer.
Oh, mate.
He was only known for tackling people.
No, he was a class player. That's his problem was he was too violent. People associate him with, oh, he's just that guy who kicks people. He's actually quite good.
His most famous moment was breaking someone's leg. That sums him up as a footballer. Roy Keane, you're overrated. But I do like your punditry though.
I personally think Paul Scholes is a great player. He's mostly known for the fact that he can't tackle. Like he'll just get yellow carded. And I think that's the problem.
Not to plug another podcast, but that Peter Crouch podcast, which is actually quite good. Peter Crouch did a bit on like could Paul Scholes tackle, and he said because Paul Scholes' yellow card and red card ratio was really high, and Peter Crouch was like, oh well, if someone goes hard on Paul Scholes, he'll go harder back on him, which is a good way to. Yeah, guess play football.
My personal favourite was Ronaldo. Is like anyone tries to kick him, it's like he'll leave his leg out there just so you can try it again. And it's like you feel like a big man now, innit? Oh, we need to get. There's a problem with football. It's too. We're
coming on to it.
We're coming on. I guarantee you, by the time you have to go, it'll be like now the football segment starts.
That's fine.
And so I think if we go quickly, losers of Brexit will be working class people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to edit this massively.
To be fair, it's good to release it like
lower middle class people. It'll be kind of like, I think, they had not a recession in the 90s, but it was like when we crashed out of the currency regulator, I think in the EU, and then like that's the thing that helped New Labour out massively.
Yeah.
Because John Major just looked like he had no idea what he was doing, and so I think it'd be working class people, lower middle class people, maybe not upper middle class people, depending on savings, because I think
that'll be
the thing
fine.
with class boundaries are you don't really know
where
the levels are.
Public services.
Public services will
loser.
struggle. I think the NHS will struggle.
I think travel, like air companies, will struggle.
Less. English football teams will struggle because I did read one thing is Tifo. I tell you another good podcast. Sorry. The Tifo football podcast is probably the best podcast when it comes to football, purely because you're guaranteed to learn something.
Yeah.
And Joe Devine's voice is just insanely good on audio. Like, I don't know how his voice is very good for audio. Where he just talked about, because the levels are going to decrease, it means that more English players might get a shot, but then because the standards aren't as high, it means that they won't be as good. Because when, like, if it's me versus you, I have to compete with you at every level.
Yeah.
And I have to become better to compete. But if you're not there, if there's a lesser player or no one, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can doss about and I know I'll get a spot.
Yeah, because that competition's gone. There's no need to be better.
Exactly, and there's a lot of foreign players. They bring their own, like, the way they do things as well. And so I think it was was it Ian Wright, where he said that he never bothered taking the pills that Arsene Wenger told him to, and then he saw God, who was the Iceman? What was it?
Dennis Bergkamp.
That's the one. It just slipped my mind. I don't know how that's happened. Bergkamp would take all the protein pills and everything, and he's like, Dennis, do you have to take these? And it's like, yeah. He's like, yeah. It's like, and then Ian's like, oh. It's like,
just like, oh, God, take them now.
It's like, oh, this bloody cod liver oil pill. So English football teams, I think, will struggle because we might get more players within the system, but they won't be as good.
No.
We'll be stuck with, like, Declan Rice, greatest midfielder of all time.
Hey, I like Declan Rice, good little footballer.
He's not that great though, is he?
He's a good footballer.
He's not like in the upper tiers though.
No, but he's young. He's got time.
Yeah.
But what you mean? There's going to be less importing in of foreign talents.
And so, like, you'll get a better shot. You just won't be as good.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And so, the winners, anyone who bets against the pound should do okay. I think when the government were basically told that you have to get I think it was one of the Brexit bills or something like that had to go through, one of the amendments, I think, or there was that big thing where they were like, we can just leave and screw you guys, and the judges were like, no, you know the thing I'm talking about, right? I'll put it through in edits hopefully. And so that caused the pound to go up, and then apparently people in the city lost a lot of money because they're all betting against the pound because they know something's going to happen. You also got rumours of insider trading going on, but I can't really go beyond that because you don't know what's said. So I think if you're betting against the pound, you should be a winner. It just depends, because the thing is, right, what they could do in the end is they could say, oh yeah, we're going out on no deal, and then at the last minute say, actually we're going to extend the transition period or do something else. Pound shoots back up, and if you knew that going in, then you can make a lot of money.
Yeah, there is money to be made getting
Also, I saw a hilarious article, I'm going to do a video on it, where basically one guy talks about how the banks can be protected.
Yeah.
And so he didn't use the word deregulation, but he said we can lower regulation. So he didn't see the deregulation, but he said, we can, not dilute it, not weaken. It was like, one of them ones where they say we can make businesses more efficient and all that sort of talk. Yeah. And I was like, you didn't use the word, big man, did you? You didn't use the word, because we knew what he's talking about, innit? When you say deregulation, make things more efficient, less red tape. Do you want to talk about less red tape? Let's talk about 2008. Let's talk about financial crash.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so these guys, they don't use deregulation anymore. What they do is say, the burden of regulation, all the red tape and all that stuff. It's like, which ones though, big man?
But now red tape is like a buzzword. People go, the red tape of the EU. And it's like a little buzzword for everyone to hear, and they go, oh yeah, EU bad, red tape. You know what I mean? Like, red tape sounds like a bad thing, but when that red tape's designed to protect you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, we need laws to protect us, because some of these... Have you watched another great podcast, Joe Rogan's podcast, when he spoke with Dave Rubin? Well, he based it that if these laws weren't in place, building contractors will do what they want. Yeah. And then Rubin was like, no one's going to use a dodgy building contractor. It's like, yeah, it's great, you get something built in about 10 years' time, the goddamn building collapses. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? The regulation is there to help just the common people. That's why it's there. If that's not there, then there's no people do what they want. If proper regulations were carried on, Grenfell would never have happened. Yeah. And that's a lot of lives being saved there, and that's why we have red tape. But yeah, maybe it goes too far sometimes. And even with Grenfell, something we still haven't learned from, something that still hasn't been addressed, And that's a separate video, because they did say that anyone who testifies will be given immunity. And I'm just like, why? Yeah. It's like, I knew the cladding was illegal. I put it up there because it was cheap. You can't get me now. Yeah. Can't get me now, can you? It's awful. People, do you know what I mean? There should be people who are locked up. Because in America, they just subpoena you. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know why we're giving these people like free reign. Yeah.
And I think if we do deregulate, then it's going to be savage, because when the next crash hits, like, household debt is also already very high.
Yeah.
So when the next one hits, and it will happen, you see, like, the stock market losing points left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
A possible recession happening, and in America especially. And what do we know? The golden rule is when America sneezes, the whole world catches a cold.
Yeah.
And China's becoming that soon as well, because they're the manufacturing superpower, and everything's going up in price. Anything like manufactured from China will go up in price.
China's been the sleeping dragon for the last few decades, but now it's really starting to kind of spread its wings. China is a massive
also
player.
stealth ways. You know, I remember seeing a cartoon back in the day. You know, those old World War cartoons.
Yeah.
Where it basically said that Japan was cutting at China's tail, and I think it was like the US or like someone else in the picture saying, "Shh, don't wake up the sleeping giant."
Yeah.
Where as soon as China woke up with Mao, and they when the US signed that stupid deal, the free trade deal with China basically took on everything.
Yeah.
Manufacturing, they manufacture meds, cars, you name it, like, it's there.
Yeah. And the debt that people owe China is huge. Like, China is the biggest world player right now. They're